What's up everybody, welcome back to the Orange Ape Outdoors channel. Thank you for joining me. In today's video, we are going to be taking this old skateboard deck that I've had laying around for a couple of years. We're going to use a Dremel tool and some neodymium magnets to see if we can't mock up something pretty cool to display some of the pocket knives that I have, instead of just having them sit in a closet. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, go ahead and click the like button as well, and we'll dive right into today's video. So one of the issues that I ran into with the neodymium magnets is they stick to the pocket clips very well, but just one of them by themselves isn't quite enough to support the weight of the pocket knife. So as I was messing around, I'd figured out that if you take 3 of the little magnets and get them sticking together side by side like this, not a very fat profile, that provides a lot better grip on the back of the pocket knife, and it'll actually be able to support the weight of it. So we are going to have to lay out some magnets like that. The plan is to have the 3 magnets side by side sitting flat. You can see we've marked out a rectangle there, the same size as the magnets. We will route that out with the Dremel, get these set in there with some epoxy, and then we'll add another stack of 3 magnets oriented in the same way, and that will hopefully give us just enough lift to stay off of the actual skateboard deck itself and kind of give us the appearance of floating pocket knives on the skateboard deck. As you can see here, we're going to be laid out to do up to 5 pocket knives across the top of the skateboard deck here. I'm probably going to do the same thing at the bottom. Again, we're going to hit this with the Dremel, and the point is to just go down about 2 millimeters, just enough to get the magnets to kind of sit flush with the surface there. So let's get the Dremel fired up and try to get that carved out. Little jump with the Dremel. I've got to try to be a little bit more careful. Nothing some white paint won't fix. I'm hoping the pocket knife will just be wide enough to cover it. Let's go ahead and test fit these magnets and see what we're working with here. Looks like I need to go a little bit more up and down with the width of this pocket. The depth I'm hoping is just about good. Let's fix that. Let's go in with another test fit on the magnets here. Looks like we're going to have to take a little bit out of that top edge, and that should hopefully get us down in there. The depth is looking really nice. So now we have a pretty decent little pocket worked out there, and those magnets sitting there nice and flush. Let's go ahead and get those epoxy down. And to do that, we are going to be using JB Weld Clear Weld. This is a 2-part epoxy, so we're just going to get a little bit of that pumped down into there. Go ahead and get the cap back on this pretty quick. Then we're just going to want to get that epoxy nice and stirred up here. Definitely more came out than I'm going to end up needing. We will wipe off the excess, but we are going to use that to set the other set of magnets on top of these, so they won't come off of the board or off of the other magnets while you're pulling a knife off of there. So now we'll get the magnets slid down in there. This extra epoxy I'm just going to kind of work over the top, the sides here. Another little grid of 3 magnets we want to get stuck on top of those magnets. And again, we'll take this excess epoxy and just try to get it on top of these magnets. Make sure we don't have any gaps anywhere or anything like that, so when this cures, we'll have a nice solid bond. I'm also going to come in on these sides here, try to get most of the excess off. And we'll just work that stuff back over. Give it another wipe. And we should be good to go. We're going to let these magnets cure in place while we are waiting for the epoxy to set and cure on these magnets. This is the first one that I did, a little test run while I was prototyping the idea. And as you can see, that looks awesome. It's going to work just as I was hoping it would. And as you can see from the top, we're going to get that kind of floating display that I was hoping for. Real quick, I just want to give a huge shout out to Flightless EDC. He went ahead and threw my logo on this leather patch, laser engraved it, and my brother ironed it onto this hat that my girlfriend gave me. It looks absolutely awesome. So happy with how it turned out. Make sure you stay tuned for the rest of the video. I'm going to show you just drawing with the marker the layout for the magnets on the bottom of it, and I'm ultimately super excited to show you the end product. So once again, make sure you click that like button, go ahead and smash the subscribe button. I'm super excited to show you how this turns out. All we need for this step is our little grid of magnets and a Sharpie. Let's go ahead and kind of roughly eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfectly lined up with the top because aesthetically, the main draw is going to be on the graphic of the skateboard. The knives are going to look awesome on there, but they don't have to look perfect. It'll look cool if they're a little bit staggered. And I also can't guarantee that the size of the knives I'll be putting on are all going to be the same. I have an assortment of them here. Kind of different shapes, different lengths, so that is also going to affect how they get placed on here in the long run. So I'm not going to necessarily go for perfectly level across here. I just want to have them kind of lined up with the top, and we will go ahead and do 5 of them. We just need them roughly marked out. This will tell us about how big we have to go with the bit on the Dremel there. Close enough to get us to where we can start getting the pocket worked out, essentially. So this board is going to be able to hold 10 knives when it's done. That is absolutely awesome to me. Now I won't have to have my knives just sitting in the closet. I will actually be able to have them out where I can see them when I'm deciding what knife I want to grab or take with me in the morning. That will also be nice, just to have them in a more visible spot. I've had these skateboards decks for quite some time. As you could see at some point in the video, if you can't see it quite now, it does say Planet Granite at the top. That is a company that I used to work for when I still lived in Colorado. I worked on my cousin's crew, and it was probably one of the coolest jobs that I've ever had. It's definitely the most fun I've ever had working. I miss that job for sure. The Dremel tool that we're using in today's video, speaking of working on my cousin's crew, he got me this for Christmas years ago, so I'm also excited to be putting this to some use on some projects. Specifically this one. It's the first one that we're getting it busted out for. Now, as you can see here, pretty quick and easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have that grid laid out, so we can go ahead and get all the rest of these pockets routed out. What I'm going to do for the top here, I will let these magnets dry and cure up, and then I'll go ahead and route all these pockets out so I can go ahead and do the magnets and epoxy just back to back across the top, and the same on the bottom. Those will all be routed out, so I'll be actually prepped to just go ahead and finish it up. Just wanted to come and check in with you guys for a little update. The epoxy has set very, very nicely on this magnet here. We've got these slots routed out at the bottom. I've just got to lock in and get these top 3 routed out, and then we will be ready to get all of the magnets laid out and start epoxying. So let's get back to it. Got the magnets all lined up here so I could shoot epoxy in these top 3 holes, and then go ahead and get them mixed up and curing all at the same time. And there we are. Let's go ahead and get this cap back on. This JB Weld clear weld is absolutely awesome. The cap is resealable, so I'm able to put the cap back on and save it, so I'm able to use every last drop of this. Absolutely awesome. I always appreciate something cool like that. So now we just want to get in here and mix. Hop over here and mix, make sure we've got all 3 slots mixed up nice and well. It's pretty nice out right now, so I'm sure temperature wise it's not going to have any issues getting cured up. Let's see if I can get a little bit of that resin from that slot moved over. And now start getting these magnets placed. We'll just go with the bottom ones first. Let me get my hand out of the way there. I'm sure I was in the way the whole time. And we'll get the epoxy smoothed over like I've been doing. It seems to help hold it all together really well and just make it one tight unit if I'm able to get extra epoxy, the extra clear weld, and get it laid over the top. Let's get that magnet pushed back down in there a little bit better. There we are. And now we'll go ahead and slap the next row of magnets on. That didn't go super well right there. Let's try a little bit, be a little more careful on these next ones. We're back outside. It is the next morning. Got ourselves a cup of coffee. We just had to give that epoxy plenty of time to cure and set up, make sure that we weren't going to have any issues or anything like that. Before I get into the reveal here, I do want to take a quick second to say, hit that like button if you liked today's video. Make sure you click that subscribe button as well. We are always trying to build out the community, make it bigger, make sure there's more like-minded people like us that just like seeing cool stuff, hanging out and enjoying the great outdoors. Let's go ahead and do the reveal. Go ahead and get this flipped around here. Y'all ready? 3, 2, 1. There's the knives up at the top there. And at the bottom, it really gives that just aesthetic of the floating knife display that I was hoping for. It turned out just as I was hoping. This is version 1. I do have a couple of more skateboard decks, so I may do some different projects with them similar to this in the future. Let me know in the comments down below if you would like to see something like that. Thank you. Have an awesome day.